Hello, Abe.
One second.
Welcome back.
How are you, Mario?
Okay, very good.
Good.
Thank you.
Very good. Were you there yesterday? Were you there yesterday?
No, we had a company outing.
Ah,
It's like a golfing tournament, not tournament, but to collect money for Hillel.
very nice. For
So,
the campus,
so I
for the
was
school?
uh, for the school, yes. So I
Ah,
was late coming back. I arrived like at 7:10, and I was really beat up. I don't play, so I tried to play, but I walked a lot. It was hot.
I think we're on Motzei Shabbos. We're learning at 8.
Oh, you wrote that to me, so I
Yeah,
imagine,
that's what I remembered, and nobody
yeah,
said anything. So
I imagine so because tomorrow will be too early. Nobody
yeah,
wants to avoid
that's
a
fine.
nice siesta.
Not much better.
I like siestas.
You do?
Yeah.
Okay.
In South America, the businesses close like in midday?
It used to, not anymore, but it used
Not
to be
anymore.
from noon
Siesta.
until 3.
Yeah.
Hi, guys.
Hello.
Ernie.
Okay, Mem Aleph.
Ernie, before we start tomorrow, Motzei
Tomorrow,
Shabbos?
8 p.m.
Okay.
and Sunday night, 7 p.m.
Yeah.
And then say for Esther will be 8 p.m.
Mhm.
Okay. So v'asale par Yom Kippurim le'es b'dam u'tfila mipar Kohen Moshiach. The halachas regarding those three aspects of how much shear you have to have in the kli before you throw it, and whether you have to be able to dip your finger in it, is learned from par Kohen Moshiach to par Yom Kippurim. And subsequently, v'asile sar Yom Kippurim, the goat of Yom Kippur is learned from Sirei Avodah Zarah, right? Goat to goat, par to par, mikal v'chomer. Because the species is the same. Now the question the Gemara has now is, how can we learn the dinim of the Sa'ir for Avodah Zarah from the Sar of Yom Kippur? V'chi davar halame behekish choyzer malami b'kav v'chomer. Can you take something that first you moved the particular details by a hekesh, and then you can learn a kol chomer with kodshim? Because remember, the espedamut tefillah has never been written by the Seir Avodah Zarah. You only learned that with a hekesh from Va'asei Lapar Kasher Asah. Amrav Papa Ksaver Tanit Rabbi Shmuel. Yeah, Dover Alamin Behekesh Choyzer Malamin B'Kava Chomer. There's a lot of restrictions regarding the Yud Gimel Dvarim Shator Nidreshes plan that we learn, that we read every day. Rabbi Shmuel Loimer Yud Gimel Dvarim, right, at the Torah Nidreshes plan. Some things don't apply to Kodshim. Kodshim is an exclusion to some of the things. But here you see clearly Rabbi Shmuel holds that by Kodshim, Davar Lamed Behekesh is Choyzer Malabim B'Kavachoy. Okay. So then we had the Baraisa that said Lepar, Zepar Elam Davar Shul Tzibur. That refers to the, right, if the Beis Din makes a mistake, they have to bring a par. But says the Gemara, Bitzibur Gufeksiv. What do you need the limud of Lapar? It's written specifically those dinim by the Parlam Davar Shel Tzibur. Oh, Amar Av Papa, Mishum de Boyag Muri, mi Parlam Davar Shel Tzibur, Bioiseres Ushte Kloyus L'Sir Avodah Zarah. So the extra fat over the liver and the two kidneys those are the emurim. And it's taught that the Parlam Davar Shel Tzibur, even though you burn, it's one of the Parim HaNisrafim, even though you burn the meat, the Yoseres Al HaKaved Ushte Kloyus is offered on the Mizbeach. And we want to learn that applies also to Seir Avodah Zarah. That they're chayav to do the same thing, even though it's not written over there. So the par comes to teach me that. And also, you had a complaint that it was written by the Parlam Davar Shel Tzibur. What do we need, the drasha of Lepar? No. Parlam Davar Shel Tzibur v'gufei lo ksiv, ela be'hekesha asi. We learned par helam davar from a hekesh from the par kohen Mashiach, the par that the kohen gadol brings if he makes a mistake. There it says v'yoseres al hakaved, and since we learn a hekesh par, it's moved over there, so we have it available to teach to Seir Avodah Zarah. The Gemara says it's true. I need the limud of Lapar. So that it treats it as if it's written specifically the Parlam Davar Shel Tzibur. In order it so we just finished learning something that gets some of his details through Hekesh can be taught with a Kal Vachomer. But something that is not written in the Parsha that way, but we learn it through a Hekesh, you can't then do another Hekesh, like a three-way Hekesh from A to B and then B to C. But it's not written in B, it's learned from a Hekesh. You can't learn it over to C through a Hekesh. Therefore, the Lapar is needed as if it's mamish written there. If it's written there, you don't have to use this Hekesh Choyzer Malamid Behekesh, which you can't really do by Kodshim. And Tanya Kavosir Rav Papa. I'm going to bring you a Baraisa that proves that this analysis Rav Papa did is correct. It says, Vasei Lapar Kasher Asa. Now, Matamud Loimer. What do we learn? What are you doing with that? Matamud Loimer Lapar. We're talking about the par. The Fishan Emar, it says by when Beis Din made a mistake and they paskin that something is not Avodah Zarah. And the people, more than 50% worshipped it as Avodah Zarah. In that case, they have to bring what's called the Seir Avodah Zarah. It says, V'hei meviu es korbanam ishel Hashem, v'chatasam lifnei Hashem al shegigasam, on the fact that they were shoygeg. Chatasam elu Seir Avodah Zarah. Shegigasam zeh Parlam Davar Shel Tzibur, which comes for Shegigas Tzibur. And they're written together. And it says Chatasam al shegigasam, so they're connected. Amrator chatasam arhei lecha keshegigasam. When you offer the Seir Avodah Zarah, you have to be maktir the emurim, the same way that you maktir them by the Parlam Davar Shel Tzibur. Fine. Shegigasam by Parlam Davar behechan lamadito. Where bichlal did you learn that you had to be makriv the yoseres ala kaved and the shtei kloyos by the Parlam Davar Shel Tzibur? Where did you learn that? Isn't it lo behekesha? It wasn't written by the Parlam Davar either. It was written by Par Kohen Mashiach. But you learned it from a hekesh, par. So it's as if it was written there. So the chidavar lamed behekesh, chayzer lamed behekesh. How can then we go from Parlam Davar Shel Tzibur to Seir Avodah Zarah? You're doing hekesh to hekesh. Talmud Loimar. That's why Rabbi Shmuel in the Brisa says, "Vasala par kashrasa ze Parlam Davar Shel Tzibur." Kashrasa lapar ze par Kohen Mashiach. First, you have to make a hekesh between the two, and it's as if it's written. So now, when you are learning over the Seir Avodah Zarah, you're not learning it through a hekesh. You're learning it as if it was mamish written there. Okay. Omer Mar. Chatosam elusi evanazar. When we analyzed the Baraisa, we said that the word chatosam, asher shigagosam, chatosam al shigagosam, the chatosam refers to the Seir Avodazara, and the shigagosam refers to the Parlam Davar Shel Tzibur. So chatosam elusi evanazar. Freit the Gemara, typically mikra kama. Why don't we just learn from the pasuk that's written by Parlam Dover? It says Vasher asa kasher asa, Damar mar, hachatos, bala rabbi Zara. So we don't need this complicated hekesh to hekesh, and then you learn it over to Sira Zara. We already included in the original sugya that it comes to include the Sira Zara as well, from the word hachatos. Amra Papa, we need both. Itzrich. If we only had the first hekesh sakedat chamina and mili, when do we compare the Sira Zara Parlam Dover? Bahazos. That's, for example, it has to be the same sprinklings. Like you sprinkle on the paroiches, and then you sprinkle on the four corners of the mizbeach. Diksiv and begufe, because those were mamish written. Aval yoiseres ushtei kloyos. But the fat on the liver and the kidneys, the loksiv and begufe, that wasn't written by Parlam Davar. Maybe Ema Lo. Maybe we wouldn't learn it over to the Sawyer. Kamash Malan, we needed the extra hekesh. Armale Ravuna Breder Rav Nosson Rav Papa. Ta'atana Paryo Makiprum L'chol Mashomer Binyan Komar. We had another drasha that said everything that is taught by Parlam Davar Shel Tzibur is learned also to Paryo Makiprum and all the other Parimani Srafim. Why do I need these other hekeshim? So the Gemara says it's machlekes Tanoi, Tana Devei Rav Mirebi Hachi, and Tana Rabbi Shmuel Lo Mirebi Hachi. Two different limuds in Rabbi Shmuel. Then Tana Rabbi Shmuel. Why did the Torah explicitly have to write that there has to be haktoros emurim yoser shtekloyos by the par that the Kohen Gadol? The loy nemer b'parlam davar shel tzibur. It was silent by parlam davar shel tzibur. It was written explicitly by the par Kohen Mashiach, and we learn it behekesh. And the Gemara tells us the reason why. Mashal melech bas v'dam shezom alo hava. One of his friends did something wrong to the king. But he loved his friend so much that he lessened the severity of the punishment. Same thing, Klal Yisrael are beloved of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So regarding writing what the tzibur, the Parlam Davar Shel Tzibur, what are the details, he made it smaller. He left some of the details out, not written explicitly, because he loves Klal Yisrael. Tana Rabbi Shmuel. Midneiman Nemra, by the Par Kohen Mashiach, it actually writes, V'hiza espnei parochas HaKodesh. You have to sprinkle blood on the parochas that divides between the Heichal and the Kodesh Kadoshim. Where? B'Par Kohen Mashiach. It's written there, and lo nemar parlam davar shel tzibur. It's not written, and we learned it behekesh. The question is, why was it absent there and written explicitly by the Kohen Gadol? Mashal mech bas v'dam shesir chalav Medina. The whole city or the whole country wronged the king. Imiyuta sarcha, p'mayishlam is kayemes. Fine. A minority of the people rebelled against him, but the country continues. But imruba sarcha, but if the majority ain't b'mayishlam is kayemes, even those that are close to him are not close to him. So remember, the Parlam Davar Shel Tzibur is brought when 51% of Klal Yisrael does the avoyin. So then the Kohen doesn't mazan the paroches, which is a high level because you're standing right next to the Kodesh Kadoshim, we don't get the right to do that. Rashi says, Knisas chavur atzoso, masmich l'dato asher divrei socher, v'imrot sasichei b'may shel kayim, arei hu mesulik mechibosom, u'miknisasim b'miktas, v'en lebo gaspen krishona. He's not close to them anymore. Here we get a little insight. Normally we read about the korbanos, we don't really understand why there's some details here, there's no details there. Here the Gemara gives us a little insight into that. We learn in the Mishnah that when you have to give blood on the inside Mizbeach, the Mizbeach Hazav, in the Heichal, then you got to put it on all four corners. If you miss one of the corners, the whole thing is ruined. Let's say one of the sprinklings was done with a chutz lizmanu machshava, but the others three were done correctly. We say pasul vein bokaris. Tanan also, we learn menachos. When you are maktir a mincha, you have to go in and get kmitza, some of the flour, and the spice. You need to be matir. Both of them are matirin. What's a matir? It allows you to eat the mincha. So you have to offer both. Pigel b'koimitz v'lo b'levona, b'levona b'koimitz. If he had machshava chutz lizmano during the koimitz, but not the levona, Rab Meir Omer pigel v'chaynu l'koretz. He still says it's pigel. You have to have the chutz l'zman machshava throughout the whole thing. Amrei Shlokish, loy teim atamid Rav Meir is, why does Rav Meir say it's pigel even though you only had pigel and a half? Don't tell me it's because the kesavar demafaglim b'chatzi matir, that if you had a machshava's pigel even a half of the matir, it works. A different reason. Hachmaiskin kagon shenasan sakoymates b'machshava, when he put the koimetz in the klishares, he had a machshava to be maktir at chutz zmano. Then he put the levoina quietly, b'shasika. And Rav Meir holds ksavar kol oisal das rishonu oisel. He didn't waver from his original thought. Since he thought chutz zmano initially, he continues with that. Now, where did Reish Lakish get this? Maybe maybe Rav Meir holds your mafagel b'chatzi matir. He says no. Our Mishnah, you gave all of them, three of them regularly. One with chutz lizmana, we say pasul vein b'karis. Now, ha'achas shaloki tikuna, one of them was not proper because one of them was chutz lizmana. The kulan kitikuna should be pigul, right? Because you did everything else correctly. So, and Mani, who then is the author? Ilem Rabbanon. Well, they're the ones who say that if your mafagel be either with the koimitz or the levona alone, Hami Rabbanon mafagel b'chatzi matir. And in the case of the Mizbeach, that one matana was done righteously. Ela Rab Meir must be not Rabbanon, but really it's Rab Meir. And even if he had machshava chutz zmana by the koimitz and not in the levon, it's still pigul. The time Rab Meir mishum shemfayim chatzi matir who. But if you say that the reason is because Rab Meir allows pigul even when you're having the machshava in only half the matir, afilu kidiktoni nami. So here also, if you gave three of the corners properly and one not, it should be pigul according to Rav Meir if you're saying you can be mafagel b'chatzi matir. So comes out from here we understand is lav mishum d'ksavar kol oisal das rishonu osa. It's a different svara. It's the svara of since he started off with chutz lizmanu and he was quiet, we assume that he carries on the machshava. However, the Gemara rejects it. We could say that our Mishnah is even Rabbanon. who holds that in general ein mefagdim b'chatzi mater. Umay ketikunon lepigul. That means you did all 4 of them with a machshavas pigul. And even if you did 3 of them, but if you did the last one quietly, we would not say nastal das rishon. The rest of them were done correctly. It says pasul vein b'koris. It's because it seems that because one of them was not done properly. That's why it's not full pigul. Michlal, when it says tikunas lachshiru da'asa, it's having a proper machshava, not a pigul machshava. Still, Amar Rava, we could say kitikuna means machshavas pigul. And my shalo kitikuna chutz limkomo. We know that chutz limkomo, doing it in Tel Aviv, doesn't create chorus. Only chutz zmano creates chorus. So it was enough to passel the korban, but not enough to make it pigul with chorus. Rav Ashi Omar, the shaloki tikkun in our Mishnah is something else. That the other matana was done shalol lishma, like by a chatas or a pesach, they will also passel. Kamzat michlal the chilo ovidle chutz limkom of shalol lishma. That if the other ones were done completely correctly, without a chutz limkom or without a chutz shalol lishma machshava, it would be a machayev pigul with kares. But that's clearly not like the chachamim. So the Gemara says, don't be medak that way. I did a Tani Reisha, because it talked about the external chatos, that if you had an initial machshava chutz zmano, and in the second one a chutz limkomo, it's pigul v'chayv no kares, because we said it's only the first. Once it was given the first zrika, the korban is machaper. So for stylistic reasons, Tanami Seifa in the same language, that if at the end you had a machshava chutz limkom or shalosh mos pasul vein b'kares, but not to be medayik that if you didn't have that machshava, but if you did it quietly, it would be pukal. We don't know for sure. Okay, we'll stop with the Meisrei. We'll continue tomorrow. Tomorrow night. What's the show?
Okay, good Shabbos, everybody.
Shabbos, everybody. Good Shabbos.
Shabbos,
Shabbos,
Shabbos.
Shabbos.